Welcome to Repair Shop Reckoning, the Race to Zero, episode 36 with Jim Gray, the partner of Motor City. This is one of the guys I talk about, the chain of command when I talk about that when everybody has a problem over at Motor City, they go and talk to Jim Gray. And if Jim Gray sees it fit, he'll come to me. And then everybody's like, I can't believe this guy's unapproachable. I said, well, no, I'm not unapproachable, but management has layers for a reason. Like I said before, do they go in GM, a guy on the line gets butt hurt and he goes up to Mary Barra, I need to talk to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I want to talk about leadership. I want to talk about how shitty the insurance companies are, even though we have little trolls saying that body shop techs are making more than ever now. The insurance companies are paying more than ever now. Collision estimating software has profit calculators for the guy doing the estimate so he can make sure his profit's right, which we all know is bullshit because we all know the insurance company estimates it, tells you how much to charge for the parts, where to buy the parts, and guess what you're going to do if the parts go bad, what they told you to buy. You're going to warranty them. So let's go ahead and introduce Jim Gray. He's been on before. Welcome, Jim.
Hi, guys. Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, it's only like right next door to your office, the
That's
podcast
right.
studio.
One door away.
One door away. So where do you want to start here? So let's start with your career, like where you worked. You worked at the dealerships, right? You've been in the collision industry for how long?
40 years.
40 years. So he's kind of lying because he's only 46. He just looks a little bit old.
Look a little rough. That's a typical body, man. I'm
Right,
only 40.
right. So you've worked independents, you've worked at radiator shops, you worked at mechanical shops, and your latest before here was a dealer for how long?
16 years.
16 years. So this is the guy with the inside scoop that's going to tell us about DRPs. What does a DRP stand for again?
Don't really pay.
Don't really pay, exactly. So everybody who loves these DRPs, unless we're doing it completely wrong, Jim, and you did it completely wrong at the dealer, then there's something up with it, wouldn't you say?
Well, I did it completely right in the eyes of the insurance company. My KPI scores were great. Everything was good that way, except for the profit on our side.
Right. So let's break down a situation that you've run into where they're telling you, they would go do surprise inspections, right?
Yeah, all the time. Yep.
So break us down on one of them.
We had an adjuster for the insurance company come out, walk in, and we had all of our cars and customers labeled up on a big whiteboard so we could track them. All the techs knew exactly where the cars were. She would come in, say, I need these 5 jobs. I had to print all 5 repair orders and then hand them to her and then escort her out to the shop and go walk around with her while she reviewed and looked at everything that was going on in the shop. She would just go line by line on every job, every estimate. And then if you were, let's say it was a multi-staged repair, you had framework, you had fender, you had body work, you had D-trim, you had all kind of work to do on the one job. She would actually hit you, put marks on your paper and take it away time because you didn't have it done in the order in which she thought that it should have been done. So like Pat was, let's say, doing a door on a car and he was bumping it, but it wasn't detrimmed yet. There was no need for it to be detrimmed yet. It's not in the paint line. It's still in the body stall. So he can do it however he feels fit to get the maximum time out of it. Multiple occasions, multiple adjusters come in, said, nope, there's a way to do it, and that's not it, and took time away. But you can't argue because you're a DRP.
So what qualifications? So in the state of Michigan, you have to have state certifications. I know I always talk about this because a lot of these younger guys that come into the trade, they can't even pass these old antiquated tests. Right. So when I say state certifications, these people that are adjusters and stuff like that, they might have training, but what kind of training they have? Sitting in a classroom, some guy talking to them about it?
Right. They can read. If they can read and comprehend and then put it down on paper to answer the question, they pass. But they don't have any real life experience fixing a car. We've dealt with one adjuster here that's come to our shop a couple times who basically was a tech. He was a shop owner, and then he quit the business, and then he came back in as an insurance adjuster for different companies. He came out and he said, he told the insurance company, I won't save you money, but I'll keep you from getting ripped off. So he would fix the car fairly and for the proper money, proper time. And his claims were great. It were wonderful to work with a guy like that.
Yeah, I remember that guy. We did that expedition. We did some other stuff. I remember that guy, that motorhome. Yeah, he was that. You're 100% right. We didn't have to argue with him.
No, not at all, because he was a body. He knew, like, all right, Jim, how much on that door? I don't know. I'm thinking 8 to 10. He goes, yeah, every bit of 10. And then we get the estimate to be 10 or 12
Right.
because that's a proper repair time that's going to take.
Right. And if anybody thinks that the insurance companies, there's a guy on my post that actually made sense. He said, on one of my posts, he said, back when he was a tech starting out, the insurance company's motto was, we need to fix the car correctly for a fair price. He said, over the years, that's gotten to the point now where we need to cheat to shop, cheat to customers so we can be profitable. Right. So our CEO basically can get these huge bonuses when you start looking up these things. On the collision boards lately, they've been talking about State Farm lowering their labor rate, right?
Right.
How
nationwide, lowering it.
Nationwide. So that blows the whole prevailing wage bullshit right out of the water, right? Because they're saying in certain areas there's a certain amount difference, right? They didn't say we're coming out and giving everybody a 30% decrease, okay? They're literally saying, from what I understand is, well, things have gotten back to normal from COVID, so prices are going down, so you're not paying your guys much. So let me get this straight. There's a tech shortage. Worse in the body world than in the mechanical world. The mechanical world's horrible. They basically said, so after COVID, a couple years later, so if Billy Bob over here is making $20 an hour, you as a shop owner walked out and go, hey, things are getting really back to normal. I'm going to go ahead and knock your pay down to $14 an hour. And I'm going to call State Farm so they can lower their rate so we can be fair with everybody. Is that kind of what...
That's what it sounds like they're doing. I mean, they used to, when you would ask for an increase in their wages, first thing they tell you, you got to fill out the survey. Had to go online and fill out the survey. And if everybody in your area all surveyed multiple times over a 6-month period, they would review the wages. That didn't mean they would raise them. That mean they would review them. But they didn't even want to talk about it.
No, and that just goes to show you how stupid people are. Okay, let's start out here. I don't want to. I got to give some context here.
Yeah.
That's my new thing since, I had to lay it all out. So I always say body shop owners are not good businessmen, just like mechanics that buy mechanical shops are mechanics that own businesses. They don't really understand the numbers unless they go to the classes like Donovan went to classes from Cypress Ridge or stuff like that. He ended up being a good businessman. But these body men really, a lot of them, I'm not saying all of them, don't really know their numbers, so they really don't even know what kind of money they're making on a job. And I'll give you an example. Melissa Merrim's job. Remember that rear end hit on Melissa Merrim's car? When we figured out what the insurance company was going to pay, we would have lost like $700 doing that job.
Doing the job, we would have lost money.
That's not insane?
Yeah.
So I'm like sitting there thinking to myself, okay, they're lowering the rates. They're cheating the shops. They're giving us, okay, here's a perfect example. It's like $800 to get rid of these freaking drums.
Right.
They want to give us what, $3 for hazmat? Yep. They paint materials and all this stuff. It's just insane.
The other thing I think is amazing that all these companies have gone to like the digital estimating where the customer will send the photo in and then they write an estimate and send it back to them and then they send the check right to them. So now if that person is in any kind of financial issues or anything, the car's drivable, so I got a dent in it. Look at this check I just got. And they're not fixing it. So now they're saving money because they wrote a crappy estimate initially. They depend on us as the shop to fix it for that and maybe not supplement them. But they come here, we're going to supplement them. We're going to fix the car right and fair and all that fun stuff. But the majority of customers now are not getting their stuff fixed. They're taking a check and walking away.
And I know there's two that I could think of right away. That F350 or F450 with the aluminum bed that was smashed in the back.
Yep.
Okay, we went and we did all the legwork on that thing. All the research, found the bed, everything, gave it to the insurance company. They said, okay. And they sent a check to the guy. And the guy goes, it's not that bad. Thanks for everything, guys. And took the truck out of here. We got paid our $185 admin and checkout fee. But okay. And the other one was that horse trailer.
The horse trailer.
That was an $8,900 job. And we sat there and struggled for weeks to try to get that panel from the manufacturer of that horse trailer. Right. And then the guy's like, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad because he saw the check.
Because he saw the check and he took it.
Now, because he takes the check and cashes it, there's no chance for us to do a supplement. You know what I mean? So the insurance company is saving money again.
Yeah.
And then they don't have any adjusters. Like when we argue about a job, they wrote it for 3 hours. We wrote it for 20 hours, whatever the difference is. And we say, well, okay, well, that's fine. You can't see it in the photos. Well, then send an adjuster out and we'll review it in person because the photos don't do the damage justice. Well, we don't have anybody to send out. Well, they're saving all that money on salaries for all their employees and making us do it and then chopping our wages again.
Yeah, it's like that motorhome we have right out here right now.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and break that one down. That thing came in, I think, the total with the front, it had 2 hits, right?
2 hits.
He hit, and then he backed up and hit something.
Correct.
Okay. The front end repair was $1,800. And then the rear end was
42 or something.
42. So altogether it was like 6,400, 6,500,
Right.
somewhere in there, right? When we actually went and inspected that thing, they missed that the lower part of it was ripped right off the brackets.
Right.
Then we looked in the taillight, it was cracked all the way down and it was missing a bunch of pieces. And they wrote it for R&R, the rear cap
Right.
of the motorhome, right?
Right.
But they didn't write nothing about the roof seam, the roof work that needed to be done, any of that stuff, the ladder being broke, nothing,
Even
right?
the aluminum structure, even the fiberglass that's missing, even the compartment internals that are damaged, none of that.
So then we write the estimate and we lay it out, what's missing and how much more it's going to cost to make it.
Right.
The adjuster says, who's never really even seen the thing, says you've lost your mind. It can't be that much to fix it. And plus, we can't pay any more than we're already paying you per hour, right?
Right. And if you remember, he started out with 2 claims and they said the one was unrelated prior damage and they were only going to fix the one until we wrote our supplement and sent it in. And all he did was, oh, there's a supplement. Oh, it's 1 claim. So he combined the 2. He never even took into consideration what we had written.
Right. So now we call the customer after all this and we're like, listen, you're going to have to write a check for us for the difference to write the back, fix your motorhome.
Right.
So this guy writes the check. And then the insurance adjuster, who's a liar,
Right.
says, tells the customer, I've been trying to get a hold of them. Their voicemail is not set up. Well, our main line does not have a voicemail. And he states it that he couldn't leave a voicemail on our main line. This number doesn't have a voicemail set up. It hangs up. Remember that message?
Yep.
Okay, which is bullshit. And then he says he sent several emails, which we've never gotten.
Right.
Then he said, we didn't send any emails, which we have sent emails. We sent him pictures. We sent him the estimate. He ignored it all.
Right.
And then he said he was actually really cool when he's talking to us, the snake. And then he says, well, I'll let you talk to my boss. And the boss basically calls us and leaves us a message after the hours going, hey, you're at 185. The most we've ever paid in your area is 190. Give me a call. We'll talk about it. I've left that guy 2 messages. He's never called me back.
Yeah, he's never called you back.
Okay, so today I send a message. Here's everything. So then I go, okay, we find the taillight finally for the back of that motorhome, which was hard. And we sent him the receipt with a 30% markup. And I say to my email, there's a 30% markup on the parts. There's 0% markup on the shipping because we're not allowed to do that, for God forbid, right?
Right.
He pimps me on the shipping, knocks the parts down to 25%,
Right.
then sends me back to supplement, doesn't even match. So I'm going to lose $100 basically doing this job, doing that in that supplement. So I sent it back to him today going, hey, you missed this on the supplement. I've also looped the customer in my correspondences and stuff like that. Should a shop have to spend that much time dealing with the insurance company? Because that motorhome and what other job do we do? We spent a whole afternoon searching them parts and writing them estimates on them things.
Right.
So that's really technically the insurance company's job, but they got rid of all the adjusters.
They got rid of all the adjusters and they put it off on the shop and then fight you when you ask for what's fair.
Yeah. Okay. Last time I checked, we're here to make money.
Right.
And I said, oh, most of these collision shops make a net of 10%. And everybody online's going, that's bullshit. We make way more than that. I pretty much known. I've talked to a lot of these guys that do lines of credit for the banks around here, stuff like that. These guys are not making money in these small independent shops.
Right.
They're just not. And some of these guys are literally going, well, I think the answer is DRPs.
Yeah. At the dealer, they swear by DRP. Everything was DRP, DRP, DRP.
And what do you think about DRPs? I know you talked about it. I want you to talk about it in depth.
I was all gung-ho, you know what I mean? I was a tech for many years, took over in the management, got the lessons of the DRP and the insurance companies and what you have to do and keep them happy and they'll keep the work coming. They don't keep the work coming. They refer you. They say, yeah, we have 3 DRPs in your area. And then they tell them in a 10-mile radius, there's 3 shops. So now I'm fighting with the guy who's right up the road. Everybody, how are we going to do that? It's really based off the customer, where they want to go. So you have to do that first. And then the DRP would come in, tell me where to buy the parts, how to buy the parts, what parts I get. They don't care if it's 4 states away. It's going to take me 3 weeks to get it. It's not our problem. If it's available, you get it from there because that's all we pay. Now, I had the option to buy all the parts in-house. Like if it's a GM and it was a GM store, I could buy all the parts from but they won't pay the difference in price, because they found all the other aftermarket shitty parts that they would tell you to put on the car. Now, when the car doesn't work right or it doesn't line up right, the customer is going to be in my face saying, how come this looks like that? Well, that's the parts your insurance company told me to put on. Well, the insurance company says, well, you have to do all the fitting and everything and make sure it's right. So I got to spend 3 times as long trying to get it to fit instead of spending $80 more and putting the proper parts.
Yeah, imagine that, huh? So let's talk about steering. They're not allowed to recommend shops, are they?
No, that is against the law. They cannot steer. They can't say one. They have to say a multitude of shops in their area. But that's why they preach the DRP. You got to be one of our DRPs, and we'll send you all the work. You're technically not allowed to send me the work. So how does that?
Yeah,
It's
because
just like a smoke screen.
yeah, and we talked about what's the newest tactic they talk about, the W word, warranty.
Warranty. Yep. As far as the parts go, or as far as the job goes, oh, okay, the warranty on a DRP. Yeah, they scare tactic to the customer and say, oh, you want to take it over to this shop? That's not one of our, they're not in our program or our repair network, so we're not going to guarantee the repairs. But you're welcome to take it anywhere you want. And they make it sound like scary, like, oh, I don't want to take my car over here, and they no guarantee. Every shop has a guarantee. Everybody does, quality work. If it's a reputable shop. But that's their scare tactic to drive it to the cheaper place to get it fixed. Cheaper for them.
Absolutely. That's what's just like, I like to talk about all this. The mechanical world's a mess, but nothing like the collision world. Right. At least the mechanical world, we could freaking get 900% markups on the parts if you listen to people online.
Right. Right.
We go to AutoZone or Kmart or wherever, or Walgreens, and buy a water pump for $40. We sell it for $975 in the mechanical world. Well, obviously in the collision world, we only can make 25, 30%, depending on the. Right. I seen on that one concession on that Cybertruck we just did, the guy put concession on parts markup 30%.
Yeah.
But he paid us $88 an hour to work on it.
Right. Remember, now that's another point. Like, with the whole other independents coming in saying that we wrote the estimate and I talked to the insurance, they'll only pay $120 per se. And we're like, that doesn't seem right. That seemed right. That's when you told me, call that insurance company. Remember, we called and then we talked to them and said, hey, look, we're 185 over the phone in 30 seconds. The lady just said, well, we'll give you 140 or 160.
Yeah.
So it was like, they never called, you know what I mean? So it's not coming out of their pocket. I don't know why they do that. I think they must get a kickback or a bonus of job. Maybe the insurance company steers the independents work because their percentage of value on the estimate, their supplement rates, it all must filter in somehow. I would love to get an ex-insurance adjuster here.
Well, there's a couple of things I've noticed over the years. You never really ever could understand what a car salesman ever makes. You notice that? You worked at a dealer for a long time. How many of them guys really talked about how the little things they do to make more money on their commission checks? They don't really talk about that.
They don't really talk about
right? So it's kind of like, we've seen that one sheet that one independent guy sent us on accident, remember, in the one supplement, how he was pricing all the phone calls the insurance companies were paying for, the drive time, all that. That's fine. But I'd be willing to bet you there is a computer program, you're 100% right, that they say, okay, we think that this job is $20,000. If you can get the shop to go for $14,000, you get X amount as a bonus. I'd be willing to bet you that these guys are getting a bonus, these independent appraisers. Why else would they? They're not going to make a living on freaking making $100 on an appraisal.
And then the amount of arguing that you do with this third party is ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's like, this guy's going to pay out of his own pocket to fix that fender.
Well,
and he's never fixed a fender before, or done fiberglass repair, but we're expected to just eat it because industry says that's what it takes. No, that's not.
Yeah, because I know the one independent around us, two of the guys or three of the guys are pretty good, but the other guy, he freaking acts like you're freaking taking his grandma's money because grandma's paying for these jobs.
Right.
He comes out and he wants to argue with you and he wants to do this and
Walks
do that.
Walks through the door with an attitude.
Walks through the door with an attitude like you're freaking bothering them. Well, quite frankly, I don't give a shit about these adjusters, and how many of these guys, we always get the freaking work that nobody wants to do because they don't have the balls. It's like that garbage truck. It said at the dealer, how long did the guy say?
Oh, it was there 12 weeks, I think, 12 or 14 weeks. It was there a long time and nothing was done.
Right. And then they came and basically told the guy, yeah, we can't do it. Take the Motor City.
Right.
So we look at it, we're like, hell yeah, we had it estimated in 2 days.
Right.
We got the glass coming and everything. We'll have that thing wrapped up in freaking 2 weeks.
Right.
Okay. But they didn't want to touch that thing. And now we got this aluminum freaking bus out here that's all crunched in. Nobody else around town wanted to do it.
Nobody will do that job.
So here we are going to do it.
Some insurance company, if it goes insurance, is going to come out here and tell us how to fix it and what rate to charge.
Yeah.
But nobody else will do it.
Yeah. We'll argue with them and just tell them no, because the Ford dealerships won't do that. And it's a Ford.
Right.
What independent shop around here is going to do that job? There isn't any.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, we pretty much got the big truck market locked down in this area, medium, and even the little buses and stuff. Nobody even wants to touch them. They're scared to death of them. They're a bus.
They want to do the easy stuff. They want the bumper changes. They want to do a door or something like that. They don't want to get into any structure.
Yeah. Between our two shops around this area, we do pretty much everything bumper to bumper. So we are the go-to guys. And we're the most expensive guys, and we're not afraid to freaking sit there and argue with the insurance company.
Right. I don't think we're the most expensive guys because we've had a couple come in here and tell us, oh, that guy was, a lot more than, we're like, really? We've priced it where we feel comfortable doing the job and everything. And then, but the quality that shop, more expensive shop did was crappy. How many jobs have been pulled out of that other shop that's down on the east side and brought up to us?
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but yeah, that guy basically said that his truck's been sitting there for 8 weeks to get a sandblast and a paint.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So I think we should talk about culture and leadership and the bitch generation.
In the bitch generation, there is definitely a generational gap here between me and a lot of other people. You and I are of the same cut, right?
For sure.
I mean, we are men to the T. We're not bun toting. We're not, I don't need a quiet room to go sit down in, If I go out and yell at somebody, I don't need them to go and like, oh, you hurt your feelings, call HR. It's ridiculous. It's no longer a man's world. It's a bitch.
It's bitch made. No, I agree. And I talked about that on the podcast I just did with Check Engine Chuck. It's fucking ridiculous now. And I talked about the one guy, and I want you to solidify. We won't mention his name, but because I think he's on our Facebook and stuff, but he knows he's a bitch because he's a bitch.
We've had multiple bitches.
But the one bitch, when he came in, I was down at the other shop and I got a call with him sobbing and saying, these guys are calling me crying X. And they keep asking me what I did last night. It's none of their damn business what I did last night or did this weekend. Why are they so nosy?
Why are they in my personal business?
Why are they in my personal business? And I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
Right.
You're mad that they asked you, hey, what'd you do last night?
We're not a large shop. You know what I mean? Between the two shops, we're all friends. We're all comrades. We all work together for the common good, And I spend more time here with you and the other guys sometimes than I do with my family. You know what I mean? So when we come in, we have some talk. Hey, we're drinking coffee. What'd you do over the weekend? Oh, I did this or I did that. It's just friendly. It's
do you
just
know what pretty much I've been keeping track because I was going to talk about this in the pocket. Either you say it to me or I say it to you pretty much every day. Hey, what did you do last night?
Right. How was your great? What'd you do?
I should bust out crying. Right. You're a nosy motherfucker.
Friday when we're leaving. What are you doing this weekend? Stop it. Don't call me.
Yeah. What about the guy we had come in? We'll talk about this guy, Jethro.
Yeah.
The beekeeper.
Yep. Giving financial advice.
He lives in his mom's basement, right?
Or no, I think he was in an ex-boss's rental home, but I don't know.
Yeah. I'm thinking of another guy that's living in his grandma's house.
Right.
That was the guy that had to take care of his kids.
Who also gave financial advice.
Yeah. These guys are broke. His truck was up for repo, and first or second day, he's sitting at the lunch table. He tells you guys, he's going to start giving you guys financial advice.
Right.
And he's broke.
Right.
Sounds like a sound business plan to me.
Yeah.
But I want to get into depth of the culture. And I want you to tell some of the stories around here, because when I tell stories online, I swear to God, people think I'm completely full of shit. I don't know how to hire people. I don't know how to run a business. Right. I'm an asshole, which we probably could agree somewhat on that.
Well, so am I at times, but
yeah. How I'm absolutely horrible to work for.
Right.
Let's go down that whole line and knock down some of these myths. Let's be mythbusters.
Mythbusters. Here we go.
Even though the one guy died, I think.
Right.
So let's start at the very beginning. Like when you started working here, how it's progressed and how everything's changed and how you get treated and how you became a partner here. Let's go through the whole line. Let's just tell it truthful. If I'm an asshole, I'm an asshole. Just remember.
I know. Now it's editing here. Those buttons here. Don't forget. I feel so much better.
Yeah.
No, it's just, here is the place. It's just, you come in, you do your job, you do it correctly, and you go home. It's not like, I don't even know how to sum it up or to say it. You're not out in the shop every day harping on what do this, turn that wrench a little bit more, do this a little bit faster. You tell us what the job is. We've got laptops for every technician. Everything is written out per the estimate on there. We have hundreds of questions a day, but all they have to do is read the repair order, and it's mapped out to do it. So that was something that is new because that was never here when I first got here. You know what I mean? We had some one-liner estimates or one topic, with the programs, the software that we had. It was just typed in, fix this, fix that, fix. Okay, I'm a little bit confused here, but I'll do the best I can. Now it's clear. If you're not doing the whole job, you're simply not reading the repair order. And that's where we've come. I remember I used to spend a lot of time in the office trying to get repair orders, trying to answer the phones, trying to do all this. Now you've come around, you've been taking over a lot of estimating and doing a lot of phones. I'm actually able to get out in the shop. Guys in the shop work better when I'm out there. It's just a smoother, quicker. It just helps. It's beneficial to us for me to be out there, not so much behind the desk. And I feel more comfortable out there and not here because I'm not the super tech savvy guy.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I don't come out and give people a hard time unless they freaking need a hard time given to them. I'm not that kind of guy. Like I might say, yeah. Now I will tell you, I expect people to do their job. We pay people very well. Do your fucking job.
There's no thanks for doing your job.
No, we've
right?
actually
when you did your job and then you noticed something else and you went above and beyond and fixed something more. Hey, wow, that was a good catch. Thank you. Then there's dialogue there. But to do your job that's written in front of you, no. But the generation will get all worked up about that. He never says good job to me. He doesn't do this to me.
We literally just had a guy basically said he never says good job to me. One of the younger guys, he doesn't say good job to me. I'm not going to tell you good job. You know how I like you? You can tell I like you and I think you're doing a good job. I pay you every week.
Right.
Okay. I mean, this is a business arrangement, right?
Right.
I mean, some of these guys think it's supposed to go some way. I have feelings too.
Right.
Would you say like working in our companies, would you say that, okay, let's go ahead. Some of your old bosses, me compared to some of your old bosses. We joke about that all the time.
We joke about it all the time. There's a lot of fake in the world. There's a lot of smoke being blown up your ass in the world, to get you to do a better job or to think that you're doing a good job. You know what I mean? We were always taught in management, bring a guy in, you're going to reprimand the guy. He's doing wrong. He's coming in late. He's not doing good. He's doing poor work. We don't want to get rid of him because the gene pool is weak out there. We can't find any techs, so let's bring him in here. So remember, I've said it to you a few times. You bring him in at this level, you knock him down to here, and then you tell him what a good guy he is and bring him up to here, but he never is back to that upper level because he feels like he just got reprimanded, but he's happy because you were smiling and you said, but you're doing a good job.
Yeah, the ham sandwich technique. Build a ham sandwich, right?
Right.
With feelings. Right. Yeah.
No, how about do the job, do it correct, do it right the first time, and you don't have to worry about it.
Well, I talk about that a lot with Switch. Jay. I talk about that a lot with how Hal was. He never told me good job.
Right.
Okay. How many times growing up did our bosses sit there and walk out there and go, man, Jim, every day, how do you feel? Yeah. Jim, is your feelings hurt today? You're doing a great job. Anything here's a trophy. You're employee of the month. You're this, you're that. Right. Okay. That shit didn't happen when we were coming up.
No.
And I believe that's come from the actual way these kids are being raised.
I believe so too.
I mean, everybody gets a trophy.
Everybody gets a trophy. Just the government, the way they're handing out money to everybody. You don't have to work. You don't have to do that. It's just.
It was crazy when we had the whole COVID thing going on, and we had one guy, Brian. Remember? You remember that?
Yep.
He wanted.
I'm not coming in.
I'm not coming in.
I'm not coming in.
Government money.
I think everybody else in the organization pretty much. Remember when they talked that you had to have a piece of paper stating that you were going to and from work and you were a necessity. Your business was essential. That's what you remember. We were all concerned, like, do we have to carry a letter? And you're like, fuck that. We're not carrying a letter. I'm going to work and doing my job.
Yeah.
And we, in turn, we all had COVID a couple times. We all survived. We all worked. It kicked my ass pretty hard. There
I tell you what, I worked for 3 weeks with one guy by myself here. Remember that?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to fucking die. You came in and hugged me.
It got to be honestly, I was so sick and so weak and so losing weight and everything. I actually said to my wife, I go, I truly feel like I'm going to become a statistic right now, and I got to figure this out. And she was making me soup and helping me and forcing me to go outside, forcing me to move. Like it was bad,
Yeah.
But then once you start coming out of it, well, let's go, let's get back to work. And now you get COVID again. Yeah, so what?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, everybody's rattled at first, but yeah, we didn't do it, you know. And the funny thing is, like, what you see is what you get with me online. That's what people I think have a little bit of a hard time with. Like, I don't sugarcoat shit, and I really have a hard time understanding when somebody tries to sugarcoat something to me. You know that,
Right?
Like, I just fucking tell me.
Right.
If you had a problem, tell me. I don't.
I see you every day. I work with you every day. I watch your podcast, the ones that I'm not in. We see it online. You're the same person. Whether you're in the office, or in the shop, or you're on a podcast, you're the same person. And people don't understand that. They think it's animated. They think it's just video antics for for clicks or everything. No, that's pretty much you.
Yeah, I offend a lot of people. It seems, in the real world, online, everything. It's like, I don't.
Hell, you've offended me.
Yeah, I really haven't changed the way I am. I think the world has changed around us, and you have some of the same problems I have.
Oh, yeah.
You tend to piss a lot of people off too.
I do.
It's like the car wash guy the other day. How rude is that guy? Tell that story. Like the guy's sitting there.
Right. I pull into a car wash. It's got 5 bays. 2 of the bays, they're under construction, so they're shut down. So now there's only 3 stalls. There was somebody in each stall. And just as I pulled in, a guy in front of me with a pickup truck pulled in. I'm like, okay, whatever. The other people are rinsing, washing, doing their deal. Well, this guy with the pickup truck walks out behind his truck and is on his cell phone. And he's just walking around on his cell phone. He's talking, and he's talking, and he's talking. And I'm watching my watch a little bit. I'm patient, man. Okay, they have to wash their car because I'm going to do the same thing. I know people are waiting. I may hurry up. But he's not even washing yet. Like, look, if that call is so important, you pull the hell out and pull around, let somebody else go. That's what I would do. That's respect. You know what I mean? So finally, I get out and I pull up a little bit, and he said, "Somebody got an attitude?" I go, "Yeah, I got a fucking attitude. I'm about to shove that wand up your ass." I was pissed, and I started walking over. Then I thought to myself, like, yeah, I don't need to do this. You know what I mean? Whatever. And then I pulled into the stall next to him, and I started walking. Then he came over and said, "Look, I really had to take that call." I go, "Well, you're just rude. You should have pulled out. I wouldn't do that. I could have blew the horn. Yeah, you're just rude." But in that whole situation right there, the guy doing the concrete work probably thought I was the ass for yelling at the guy.
Yep, exactly. Because people don't have manners either.
But I sat there 15 extra minutes, 20 minutes, is that a lot of time? Well, yeah, when somebody's just on a phone and it's reduced, have some courtesy for other people. He was just an asshole.
No, and I think one thing that's going on, everybody is so used to running their mouth behind a keyboard.
Oh, yeah, the keyboard warriors.
The keyboard warriors. And, sometimes you run into an older guy that, there was a meme and they said, if you jump and you're a young guy and you jump at an older guy, he doesn't flinch, you're about to get your ass beat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And these young guys do. They come up and they do the flinch. Like, yeah.
That funny meme is with the guy. He's in flip-flops. If you're about to fight a man in flip-flops, he ain't going to run.
Exactly.
You better.
Yeah. And, that's the thing. So, let's go back to the techs, like coming into this industry, Pat was telling us the other day, he's never really had a younger tech come in to the industry.
No, he's pretty much been the younger guy throughout.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with the body techs because they're not making any money, or if they are, they're staying put and they're capped.
Right.
We had a guy that owned that collision.
What about guarantees? People are getting guarantees. Just as I left the dealer, people were getting guarantees. Guaranteed wage, so you don't work hard, you don't work fast. If that guarantees enough money to pay your bills, are you really going to try to push more work out?
Well, what about the guy that was at the dealership they finally just got rid of that you guys were talking about? The guy was on his phone so much he didn't even do any work, but he was on a guarantee, right?
He was on a guarantee. Come in late, leave early, take days off, sit there at his box, play with his phone, while the other techs are out working busting their ass as hard as they can so they make money, and he's being fed work because he's on a guarantee.
Yeah, because they always want to make sure they feed the work.
They want to make sure he does enough to cover his guarantee.
Yeah, I don't know where this is going. I mean, I guess the Calibers, and what's the other one?
Abra
and Caliber. Service King. Gerber been buying a lot of shops around us, right?
Yes.
They've bought, and I think these guys, these independent operators, they're so fucking happy with it. Can you imagine having a collision shop for 30 years like I've had Garrett Auto and Truck, and it's just gotten worse, making 8 or 10% and barely getting by. And here Gerber comes and goes, "Hey, You know, let's go ahead. We'll buy your real estate and this and that and the other thing, and we'll dump it.
Right.
You know, my grandpa's shop, Bill Brown Auto Clinic in Plymouth, Canton. Yeah, Plymouth, Canton. My grandpa built that building. It's right off Medethol Airport. He worked in that building. I don't know. He's 104. I think he worked in that building. Probably had to work in his 60 years. When he was in his 80s, he was still going in there after he sold it to his lead tech. That lead tech pretty much ran that company into the ground. They came in, one of the investment groups came and bought it.
Wow.
And turned that company around, you know, and it's just like these investment groups are, I mean, they're coming in at the right time now and they're buying these industries up because all of us operators are sick and freaking tired of being sick and tired.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you being 10% owner, I mean, when we sell this place someday, hopefully to an investment group,
right?
You know, you're going to get paid out on it and you'll have a retirement. You know, there's
right.
just not a lot of guys that do shit like that. Like I made you and Jason do, you know, partners and stuff like that because I'm a firm believer. If you're going to help me grow this thing, well, why not, you know, hook you up. And I get flamed online for that. Believe it or not, I get flamed online. Okay. This one guy's like, what's ROI? Return on investment. Let's think about this. He gets a paycheck still. Then he gets 10% of the profit. So I say his return on investment is fucking great.
Pretty good.
Right?
Right.
Because I really didn't have to do anything besides give people a paycheck, not making anything. The dealer never brought you and said, hey.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, and then another guy said, well, I put golden handcuffs on you guys. Well, you can fucking leave anytime you want. I'm not going to give you 10% of my company to take with you.
Right.
But that would make no fucking sense.
Can
You
I
quit.
cash out?
Yeah, can I cash out? You know what I mean? I mean, we're growing something together. I mean, we're all under the understanding that if we grow it, it gets bigger and bigger. The 10% gets bigger and bigger because the price of business goes bigger and bigger. But a lot of guys don't do that.
Look at all of our equipment. It's all top notch. Look at all of our trucks. They're all but a couple years old, if that. You know what I mean? We all have them. We all drive them. Our company represents very well. And then you jump online and look at our websites.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I really talked about how you guys have freaking Duramax trucks,
right?
That the company pays for your fuel.
Rangers.
Yeah. No, we started out in Colorado. So we worked our way up to freaking.
I had that dually for a little while that wouldn't get out of its own way, and then you were like, "Yeah, we got a good deal on that."
Yeah, we sold
a good deal to sell it. So we made the switch there, and then you gave me that high country Duramax set.
Yeah, and Jason drives an AT4. I mean, hell yeah. I mean, I think that, you know, you should take care of your key guys. See, the problem I believe is a lot of these guys don't make enough money to do that. I think they would do it if they could, but they can't, so they won't.
Right.
You know, and they can say, oh, they're sitting there arrogant and stuff like that. If anybody thinks that every day we're farting fucking butterflies out of our ass and happy as could be and counting money in this place, they've lost their fucking mind. Anybody who's been in the collision world, the collision industry, I would have to say, is worse than the freaking mechanical industry.
I've learned that since I've been with you and you own the two companies. Yes, truly, hands down, the body shop is way harder than the mechanical.
And there's way less money in it just because of everything that goes on. Now,
all the insurance control.
Right. And, you know, you do get a guy in here that wants to pay. Like we get guys that call all the time, you know, I got a 2018 freaking Chevy Silverado. I want rockers put on. You tell them rockers and cab corners are $5,500 a side.
Right.
And they're like, you lost your fucking mind. You know, my buddy could do it for $800. Well, have your buddy do it.
Right.
Okay. This is a craft. Like, I think you have to be more skilled as a body man than a mechanic. Okay. Because mechanics put parts on, diagnose stuff. That's a whole different world, but it's hard. Sure. But to make shit look good, okay? And we've had shit where we had our bodywork look prime, and we got the paint booth turned on, and drive with his diesel truck smoking, diesel fuel sucked in the intake, remember?
Yep,
freaking fish-eyed the whole freaking paint job, like, or somebody sprays PB Blaster, you know, or Armor All. Like, people don't take all that stuff into consideration, or the Lincoln's truck we just dealt with the flop on the paint. Right. Okay, how many there's like 7 variations.
7 or 8 variations.
And we literally thought we were freaking retarded. There's a word.
I know you thought that you were coming in going, what the fuck?
Guys, that's like fucking blue and that's red. Like we're talking 2 different fucking grays.
And then a paint rep. Remember that guy came out here, paint rep, wanting to tell us what to do? Yeah, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I go, why don't you put your money where your mouth is and you fucking paint it?
Yeah.
Because you're telling me something that's wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, get out of here. And he never did come back. He said he was going to come back, and he never came back.
No, we got it after the 3rd try, right?
Yeah.
But we were like, okay, but here's the thing. They were just in the collision forums going, anybody freaking deal with that sterling silver fucking...
Shark skin. Yep.
Oh, what was the paint code on that we had?
130H.
Yeah, that's not burning into your brain, huh?
No, it's not.
You know, and we were like, holy shit, we finally got it.
All the spray outs that we did, we had 7 different pints of paint mixed up. Yeah, depending on which way you held it.
And it was
terrible.
stark different. We
terrible.
painted. I'm like, yeah, there ain't no making that one like when
Right.
body lines. Remember, we're like, ooh.
Yeah.
You know, and now the truck does lean because it's got so many coats of paint on it. We got the right color, but hey, you know, what do you do? you know, I think that I think we got a pretty good crew here now and everything. I don't think we have anybody that's a bitch anymore. Which in either of the companies, we have nobody that's a bitch. No. It's great. You know, it really is. I mean, I think that as we go down this road, I mean, the trailer thing has definitely helped. And, it's eye opening to you guys because, like, you guys are used to be sitting there doing this body work that takes fucking a month to do a $5,000 job.
Right. And
you're struggling with parts. All of a sudden, you're doing these trailers and you're popping shit in and out. And you're like, my God, this goes fast.
Right.
I walk in the office and sell it 10 minutes later. I'm like, all right, I got it approved. You're like, what? What? It's just kind of interesting the way this whole thing is morphing, in our area. I think we're only going to get stronger because more and more shops are going out and they don't have the help or the skilled guys like us.
Right.
Now, I will say, when we retire someday, there's going to be a big fucking hole in Brighton.
Yeah, there is.
Because there's just not a lot of skilled people like us that had to literally figure shit out. Like all these young guys, they just don't know how to deal with problems.
No.
And what are we missing here? What else should we talk about?
Well, it's just the insurance. Well, so the insurance knocking our wages down. How many claims in Michigan annually? If they save that 4.5 hour on a dent, now I'll only pay you 4.
Yeah.
Times that amount per how many claims they are. How many customers are not filing their claims? How many are filing claims, keeping the money? You know what I mean? No chance for supplements. We went over all that. It's a terrible industry right now.
Yeah, let's talk about how they're sending supplement checks now too.
Yeah, that's right. We just had that job that we did a large supplement, if I'm not mistaken, right? Wasn't it? It was a 5,000, 6,000?
No, the freaking that. Well, first of all, what was that fucking supplement? We have to think about. Was it the Smack?
No, it was the blue one. The blue high top.
Oh yeah. Okay, here you go. A dealership takes a truck, brings it to us that they drove into a car wash. The van was too tall, the car wash was too short.
Right.
Or the car wash was too short and the van was too tall.
And the throttle was good and it had good traction.
And it was an all-wheel drive.
And
so they did the full send and it needed a roof and everything. And we sent our estimate in and they mailed the customer the one single party check.
Right.
We call him up like, yo, we need 50% down to start this. So he brings us the 50%. And then it needed headliners.
We did a supplement.
It was $5,200 for headliners and some other shit.
Right.
And guess what?
They sent him the check.
They sent him the check again. And the customer's like, I'm an hour away from you people. Why do they keep sending me the check? That would be a question for the insurance company.
Right.
So the third supplement we did on that thing was the camera and the light. We told the insurance adjuster, listen, this customer's pissed off because you keep sending the check. You're causing him a problem.
Yeah, he doesn't want to deal with it.
He doesn't want to deal with it. He wants his van fixed. So the moral of the story is, why do you think they sent the freaking supplements now to the customer? So the customer calls them and goes, yo, cancel them headliners. I don't really need them that bad. Yeah, they got a couple creases in them. Go ahead and put them back in. Now that's going to keep the $5,000. That's exactly what they're doing.
They're baiting them. They're baiting them into not fixing their stuff so they short pay. And then it never gets to a good quality shop who's going to write a quality estimate or supplement and then collect the money.
Yeah. Here's one. Me and you were getting pissed off. So we're like, fuck that. We're going to let these assholes write the estimates. We're not going to sit there and write the estimates on these anymore.
Right.
Well, that just bit us in the freaking ass on this freaking truck we got there now because the freaking adjuster came out, third party adjuster, the one we love. He came out and he wrote an estimate for $32,000.
Right.
We get the truck in the shop. We wrote another $9,000 worth of parts and labor on it. Yeah. All right. So now there's so many parts on this job, there's so many part numbers, and we all know how the OEMs write, bracket. Everything's a fucking bracket or a fastener. We don't know what's what. So we had to get all the blow-ups from the dealer
all the blow-ups
to figure out what we were doing. So we've spent 5 or 6 hours on this job figuring out the parts.
And then we took pictures of every part that was damaged, printed them out, circled them on the printer.
Yep.
You know, and then when he came out, we gave it all to him.
Yep. And it still ended up being a mess, you know?
Still short.
And it's still short.
Right.
So now we're like, man, should we just do the estimates from now on these big ones? I think it would have saved us time for sure. So now we're going to do the estimates. Now here we go. Now we have another guy. Now we have to get me or you or somebody to estimate there.
Right.
You know, and I'm not here all the time, every day, all day long. So, you know, I got to sit down a day and sit there and do an estimate so we can keep an, you know, the insurance company's third party adjuster off our nuts.
Right.
To actually get so we could actually do the job. It's just this is such a vicious circle.
I just don't understand how they can just look you in the face and argue with you when you have the part invoice, you have the picture of the damage part, you have the costs and everything, and then they still don't want to approve it. It bothers me.
Yeah. So I got the supplement back on Shane's truck. They took $100 off it for the power down and safety. They said we're not worried about powering down and safety.
Yeah, well, the techs are.
The techs are, yeah, but that's something they didn't do it. They just took it off.
At the dealer, when we brought in an electric car, we actually had to put 4 cones around it. Nobody was allowed in that area because it was all electric, and the technician had to wear 2 different style of gloves for him to power it down, power it up.
Yep.
You know what I mean, people were dying. Techs are getting killed out there with these electric cars.
Yeah, we just did that Cybertruck, which is kind of a specialty vehicle. Mm-hmm. They didn't really, and then they're like, so what's so special about that? Remember?
Yeah.
The guy's like, so what's so special about a Cybertruck and why are you working on it?
Right.
Well, you're not qualified. The state of Michigan says I'm qualified. I have the same certification as every other body tech. So yeah, and we're not Tesla approved shop, but we're a Tesla. We buy their parts. You know, we got approved for buying their parts.
But again, he said we weren't a Tesla approved shop because we weren't ASC or iCar Gold, which is another just insurance delivered scam shit.
Okay.
To be iCar certified. I did 1 million iCar classes. I have a ton of certifications that way. But you go in there, they bring up a topic, sectioning a frame rail. We'll talk about how to do it, where to do it, why to do it a certain way, how many welds you need. Everything's good. Okay, and then at the end of the class, we're going to have a 25 or 50 question test. And everybody gets a little nervous right away. Okay. And all right, everybody, here's the test. So we all start working on it. All right, let's review. Right. What do you mean review? I'm on question 8 right now, you know?
Right.
He's like, that's okay. It's more important for us that you have the correct answers than the test. So it's not even really a test. Here he is. It's a participation trophy. So then every other iCar class you go to, you half-ass, you talk to your buddies, other techs, hey, how you doing? And then at the end of the class, we'll write all the answers down and give me my certificate. Paid my $100, $200, $300, $400. Means nothing anymore in the industry. Maybe at one point, iCar might have been a standard.
I would agree with that.
Maybe you had to pass. You know what I mean? Like when I did my certifications for welding, MIG steel, MIG aluminum, you actually had to go there. You had to do the test. It was you with the wand. You welded. They broke it apart. It was pass or fail. You didn't get penetration. You fail. So that was a true test. So our iCar welding certifications meant something. All these other, it's not. It's a money grab.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny you say that because Angry Bob is one of the guys. He's an advocate for. I actually like the guy. He's fucking sour as hell, like funny, just doesn't give a fuck. And I agree with him. He was saying, ASC should mean something.
Right.
These guys should want to. These younger techs, they should have a drive. They should get more money if they get more ASC certifications at level 1 and stuff like that. And they mean something because then some guys. How this all started? There's some guy like. This guy who is an advocate or something, I don't remember exactly what it is. I don't even give a shit. He basically said, I could teach a 9-year-old kid if I had time to pass the ASC test. If I could train him for 3 weeks or 6, whatever it was, 9 days, I think, or 10, whatever, that I could get him to pass the ASC test. And he came out and said, basically going, why the fuck would you say that?
Right.
You're like an advocate or you're a consultant or you're this, you're that. You're literally on there shitting on ASC.
Right.
Automotive service excellence. Like ASC for me, when I was coming up in the business, that like you look at that guy, well, that motherfucker's an ASC master mechanic. That was impressive to me. Right. Now they expect it to whore it out like the iCar.
Right.
Because you still have to go take the ASC test and you have to do it with your own brains. And yes, there's study guides and stuff like that. I get it, whatever. But I think that if you're if you guys want to take your ASC, I paid for your states. Like. We had to get state certifications. Right. And people are like, the state certifications are so fucking easy in Michigan. Yeah, they're easy for us older guys who did a lot of that shit. Mm-hmm. But these younger guys are struggling with some of this stuff because there's no choke pull-ups anymore.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that they don't even talk about.
Right.
Like you were talking about in the collision one we went and took, there's stuff that they don't even do anymore.
They don't even do it anymore.
So now they've hybrid these tests and mixed some newer stuff in it and left some of the older stuff. So it almost seems like they could actually pass. But I remember when I came out of school and I was young tech, I flunked a lot of them tests a couple times before I passed them. And now, I mean, I had the ones that don't expire. I went and took like all the tests again. If you remember, like in 2 days, we took them all. I took them all and passed them all. I come back, oh, that's easy. And then you guys were like, yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go. We took them, but
Here we go.
a lot of these younger guys, they don't. And to my guys to get their brakes and front end and all that stuff, I just sat down with all the younger guys and we had that class upstairs and I worked with them through them to get them certifications. But how do they expect these kids? There's no more trade schools because metal shop, wood shop, automotive, and all that stuff is where the burnouts went or the losers went. You guys really
Everybody
need
looked down on you when you went there.
right. You need to really go to the computer class because everybody needs to be a computer engineer because that's where the future is. Well, now we have 85 fucking million computer engineers. And we don't have enough blue collar guys
Right.
that can actually do trades, right? And they say the trades are a dying breed. I think that the trades are all growing, and I don't think people are realizing that the data centers are going to be for plumbers, are going to be for electricians, stuff like that. They're going to be booming HVAC and all that. The only people that is a lagging industry, in my opinion, is once again the automotive and truck because we have this flat rate system. Now, I have to be very careful. I have to put context into this. In my shop, flat rate works because I don't fuck my guys over.
Right.
I don't look at a job and go, okay, this pays 4 hours. You did an hour. I'll give you 2. I don't short sheet them. They just call it double sheeting. Hey, Jim, do you guys ever remember double sheeting people or hearing about that?
Oh, all the time.
Okay, yeah, this pays 4 hours. I pay the tech 2 hours. I keep 2 hours as a shop.
Right.
Okay, I don't do that.
Nope.
Okay, if anything, we go above book time because of the rust. We're in the rust belt. Okay, they don't take that all into consideration. People are like, the book tells you how much to charge. Back in the day, I remember when we talked about it in school, they would do the job 3 times with hand tools. And then they would do an average of the time. Well, God, if the truck is brand new or the car
They
is
had all their
brand-
tools lined up.
Right.
They had a rust-free vehicle. They were in
Right.
a perfect setting. Everything was ready to go. All right, go.
right.
And then the tech would do it over and over and over. He would get faster each time. So they would reduce the times.
Right. So I think that all that stuff, I think the flat rate is what the dealers do to these guys. And I don't know if they do it in the collision world. This is a good topic to talk to you about. They were talking in the mechanical world that it could be 3 or 4 weeks before the manufacturer flags the warranty back. So you as a tech in the mechanical world do all this work. You think, okay, I got paid. I made $1,000 this week on this job. Ford, GM, Chrysler, whoever, Daewoo, fucking whatever, says, ooh, you didn't put these parts on there. We're not paying you for this job. They come back and they take it out of the tech check and they take it out of the service writer's check.
Wow.
Can you believe that shit?
Yeah, I've never heard of that in the collision side of things.
Right. So the other thing they're doing now is CSI scores. I was going to ask you guys about that. There was guys on there saying, well, my brother told me that they freaking took $1,000 out of a guy's paycheck for a bad review.
That's why at the dealer, every time you go in for service, that service writer is talking about the survey. You go buy a car, survey. Here, we're going to send you the survey. And then they clue you that anything but a perfect score will hurt me. So it's not even a fair survey because you may like the salesman. You bought multiple cars over the years from the same salesman. They come up there and you want to do an honest survey. You give them a 9 out of 10. They just lost money.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was there was literally people were on my posts were saying that I sit there and lay awake at night thinking, oh, God, I hope I don't get a bad review before my bonus check comes out because they will take a couple $1,000 or $1,000 out of my check and I can't afford that.
Yeah, I know a lot of salesmen that are still in the industry that think that very way.
Holy shit. Okay, so let's get this straight. The dealership has set up to frickin' for the house to win. They are no different than a casino. And I said, basically, everybody at the dealership is on commission one way or the other. Would you agree?
One way or another, they are.
So how is that fair to the customer? They always want to say, oh, we want to take care of the customer. So basically, you have to learn how to frickin' do a really super good job. No matter what, you have to sit there and kiss the customer's ass, even if they're rude, which we know there's more rude people than there's more nice people nowadays, for sure. And you got to kiss their ass or it costs you money.
And now it's getting out there that these surveys are very important to the salesman. So now people, the rude ones, are coming in, pressing them even harder for different things, and then they're throwing survey in their face. Like, you don't want me to give you a bad score in your survey, do you? Now the poor salesman's going crazy trying to figure out how to make this guy happy that he can get a good.
Yeah. There's a dealership around us that got bought out that was by the other shop that they basically took to older salesmen in the into a meeting and said, listen, we're cutting all your pays, we're cutting your demos and stuff. You guys are all so fucking old. Where are you going to go and make the kind of money you're making here?
Right.
You guys are almost ready to retire, so we're just going to go ahead and cut your wages now and take your demos away from you. Okay? How horrible that. What kind of cutthroat motherfucker are you to do that to somebody?
Yep. They don't care. There's no heart.
No.
No.
And you know what? The people sit there and get mad at me when I'm like, okay, the dealership does not give a shit about you. They will have somebody in your seat 10 minutes after you're gone. It might be harder now, but I mean, look at you when you left the dealership. You ended up walking out of the dealership because you just
lost my mind. I just had enough.
What did they do to you? You don't have to give me the long story. Just give me a short story. Just treating you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was there 16 years. So you would think you've built up a reputation, you've put your time in, you've done your dues and everything, and then they just keep hiring more people above you to tell you what to do, when to do, and how to do it. My job really, like I said before, is to meet that customer, make them happy to deal with our store in general because they have a rapport with the manager, and they feel safe that they're going to do a quality job. They're going to fix my car at a timely fashion, you know? But then I have to do this report, this report, this report, this report. And then the amount of hours that you have to put in, and then the lack of raises. There's just so many things that go on in a dealership that you're held down, period.
I know a guy that they gave him a raise, but they also, how they do these dealers, a lot of them, every department is its own entity, its own business, right? And they basically gave the guy a freaking raise, then raised all his freaking costs.
Right. I've seen that happen too.
You know, so I'm just like, Jesus. I mean, to think about being that cold hearted, you have to make it up to be a dealer, manager, or a GM or something. You're obviously taking your lessons from somebody, right? How to dick your guys around or push them or press them or whatever. You know what I mean? The upper, like the guy that used to manage you used to always say, he used to come in, you can't do this, you can't do that. You're like, what the fuck can I do? Like,
right. I would try to work and do best for the dealer, buy parts when I'd see them on sale at places, whatever, whatever it was. And if it wasn't over here where they had a contract with a paint supply house, I was told over here, buy it here. But then the owner would tell me, I don't give a shit about that contract. You buy it at the cheapest price and get it. So now I have a internal struggle between the owner and my direct boss. You know what I mean? And it's pushed back. It's all the time. You're always chasing your tail.
Yeah, autonomy in my companies, and I want to talk about the lines of how we do at our companies at Garrett Auto and Truck. If you have a problem, go to Jason Spencer at Motor City. You have a problem, you go to Jim Gray, right? People are like, oh, what if the manager's the problem? That's why people are quitting. What if my freaking aunt had a dick? She'd be my uncle. Right. Okay, right. Like I don't understand. Like
there has to be a chain of command.
There has to be.
There has to be.
And for a long time, I still do it to you. I'm like, this is your fucking problem, right? Like, you deal with it. And you being a manager all them years at the dealership, you have way more experience than Jason Spencer. Like, a lot of the times, you don't even bother me till, like, if something happens Thursday or Friday, I don't find out till maybe Monday or Tuesday. Right. You're like, this is what happened. I handle it. I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever.
I weigh it out, whether it's above me, like, is this really something that needs to get to you or not? But that's part of my job. That's why you pay me what you pay me, is to cover all the stuff. The texts come to me, and then we make a decision.
Right. And anybody, let me go ahead and put some context in here. Anybody who doesn't think for a minute that I know every fucking personality of every employee in my business and know pretty much their mental state all the time has lost their fucking mind.
Right.
I'm not a guy that freaking puts his head in the sand and doesn't know what's going on in my companies. Right. Just because I don't talk or deal with the problems.
Well, that's because you pry so much into our personal life.
Yeah, what are you doing after this podcast?
What are you doing after the podcast?
But you know what I mean? I know what's going on.
We're a small group. We all read each other. You know what I mean? I know when Pat's had a bad night. You guys know when I've had a bad night, or and it's always outside stuff. 9 out of 10 times it's outside stuff. Right. But we're a small, close knit group that we care. You know what I mean? Like I give Pat father advice constantly. I always tell him, don't get married, don't have kids. Well, you screwed up those two. You know what I mean? So now here you go. But But I keep telling them, wait till your son is at this age. Wait till your daughter's at this age. I've got 4 kids, youngest being 24. So I've been through the ringer. I know what they're up to. I know what they're doing or what the excuses are or what the lies are. You know what I mean? And if you don't think your kids lie to you, just like my parents didn't think I lied to them, I sure did at times. You know what I mean? It's part of growing up. It's part of becoming independent.
No, I would agree with that. And I notice pretty much everything when I walk through our shops. There's not much that gets by me, but I don't sit there and harp on people. And the one thing I will say I've learned on this podcast is I have to freaking put context with stuff, because you said it the other day. When Kevin asks you to fucking do something, he's not like making a suggestion.
Right, it's not a suggestion.
He might walk
Like,
over.
so, for instance, when did you give Pat that registration? Put it on his toolbox. Friday.
Yeah.
Friday. I come in this. I saw it on his toolbox, and I knew you gave it to him. I was going to allow him to go and put it on the car because you gave it to him. God, do it. Right. I'm working. Everybody's working. I come in this morning. First thing I do, I come in. I walked over to turn the radio on, and I saw the registration there. I picked it right up, took it out, and put it on there. Now, he was leaving this morning to go on a run to pick up some parts for us. And he's like, where'd that registration go? I said, I put it in the van. I already put the tab. I was going to do that first thing. I said, Kevin gave you that Friday. You know what I mean? It's like when you make it like a suggestion, wow, we ought to do that. Do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just do it.
Sometimes I think I'm such in a hurry in my own head.
You are flying at a way different altitude than a lot of us. You have a lot more going on than a lot of us. So you say a lot of things, and you may say 10 things in a minute. And then we have to remember those 10 things, because the next day you didn't forget the 10. You came in with 10 more, and then you questioned me on the last 6. How come you didn't do that? Well, he did the other 4. I don't give a shit. I asked you.
Yeah, people think that from my podcast, man, I must be a complete dickhead to work for. They literally say I must be the most horrible boss because I'm not in touch with your guys' feelings. I seem to yell all the time, and I expect the world from you guys. Is any of that true? Or maybe they expect the world from you guys.
At any given moment, every one of them could be true. But I know you're the one guy that you and I can come in here in the morning. I'm in a bad mood. You're in a bad mood. Whatever the case, we didn't jive. We had an argument. You know what I mean? There was a little tension. 2 hours later, you're calling me up. Hey, what about this here? Yeah, I got that. We get past it real quick. You don't come in grudging you know what I mean? Like, you don't.
No, me and you have actually become best friends. I mean, I
Correct.
consider you one of my best friends, and I do motherfuck you, and you motherfuck me back. And I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that. Like, I have no problem if I'm fucking wrong. Somebody look at me going, you're fucking wrong. And I'm like, yep. And I'm going to use that.
Say, your delivery. You have to say it like that.
Well, the other day.
Right. Come on, Kevin.
That's
what I said.
I said something like, you've been doing estimates for 7 fucking years. You're like, really? Fucking really? Did you have to say that? I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of a dick thing to say, honestly.
And you did. As you were typing, you're like, yeah, that might have been a little bit of a dick thing to say. I get over it. I didn't have to call Marilyn, get me into the quiet room here.
I don't try to be fucking terse. It's just like, I'm so fucking direct. It's almost like,
correct.
It causes problems. And I try to soften it up, but then I try to soften up. People are like, what's wrong with you? Like my wife, I swear to you, like today with the whole thing, with that receipt.
Right.
She's like, Marilyn, I'm fucking with customers and everything. I'm busy. 'Cause today we had a line.
Right.
And you're out there trying to do your shit. And she's like, you do remember that I told you about that? I called her afterwards. She's like, you do remember I told you I was cleaning up the AI? I go, from fucking July.
Right. I looked at the date on that.
I go, it's July. She goes, yeah. I go, maybe you should.
How many customers we've had since
July?
Yeah.
I go, I'll tell you what happened. I said, the cents don't match. Jim and Lincoln tried to return that particular one, and it got fucked up. And I said, well, just don't worry about it. Remember that guy?
Yes,
He brought back all the shit. I remembered all that stuff, but she didn't. But thank God my memory is freaking to the point where I can remember that. After I went and looked, I'm like, oh, I remember the cents don't.
Right.
You remember that whole clusterfuck. But it's just like, she doesn't get offended.
Right.
She does not get offended when I'm like, just stop. She's like, okay. Like my wife drives me nuts, but she doesn't really get offended because she's used to me.
Right.
And I think you're pretty much used to me. I'm not malicious. I don't come and just want to berate
You don't
people.
come in and pick a fight.
No, but like,
But if that registration would have been sitting on that toolbox, there would have been a discussion.
I would have been like, what the fuck, dude?
Is that fucking there? That's how shit like, yes.
It's-
but I know that.
I always think the funny thing is you're like, you said that. And I'm like, he's fucking right.
There are more often than not. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn it. Like, I was going to do that, but then I got pulled and I got sidetracked and I didn't get it done. And what's the first thing you asked me that next day? That. I'm like, God. That's it.
Like he'll ask me a question, like, God damn it.
Right. Let me
See a pause in the text. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard having a fucking mind that's going like a YZ250 all the time. Like it really is just like alphabet soup in my head. It really is. It's tough, and I guess that's why who I am.
At the lunch table today with this new gizmo, and he's got a head complete face is blocked, and I just see him going like this. He looks like Tony Stark. There's multiple screens going all over the place, and I'm like, wow.
Apple Vision Pro, that is a fucking game changer.
Right. He came in and handed me a new phone today. I'm like, great. Now I got to figure this out.
He's like, iPhone 16. I'm going to go and make my wife give me a lesson. Well,
That's what I said.
The frustrations we run into, there's a generational gap. Like, you didn't grow up with all this fucking bullshit. And I had to, because I'm coming through it.
Right.
I'm older anyway, so I have to learn all this shit so I can actually make it all work in our companies, right? And the one struggle we have is freaking sending pictures back and forth from an Android to an Apple phone. It is fucking horrible. Like, my Android, sometimes I'll go to send Jason stuff. It'll come back, not delivered, not delivered. Like, what the fuck? Same with you. Yeah. The other day, you're ready to melt the fuck down.
The guys are at lunch. We're sitting there and you asked me for the photos. I'm at lunch, no big deal. I'll just click the photos. Well, it wouldn't send more than 2 photos. I'm trying to send 6. I cut it from 10 down to 6. These are the key photos. He needs them. I'm trying to send them, and I can't do any more than 2 at a time. And then it came back to me a couple times, and I said, "These guys, I go, what's this phone cost when I break it in half?" Pat's like, "Don't do that. Let me see it." And then he tried, and then Jake's like, "Here, I do it." Jake actually had the photos, sent them from my phone one at a time to his phone. He grouped them together, and then he sent them to you.
Android to Android. It's like literally Google and Apple don't like each other messaging or whatever. The Apple will not let anybody in their freaking iMessage, so we all have to fucking pay the penance.
Right.
And in the collision world, pictures are king. And I'm going to tell you another thing. This will be the last topic because I don't want to sit there and keep going. If you are a shop owner and you do not take pictures of a vehicle that comes in on 4 corners and take pictures of the whatever you do, and then the finished product, if you're a collision shop, I think you should have pictures all the way through. You're nuts. Right. The liability is freaking. Can you think about like how we came up in this business, how there's no pictures and stuff like that? How it's so much easier, like when we have these pictures coming to guys like you did that, and we're like, here, it was done when it came in. Look, there's the timestamp when it came in. It was parked in the parking spot. What time did you drop it off? Oh, let's look at the log when you were here.
That's the same guy I'm actually thinking about right now with the boat trailer.
Yeah.
With the emergency cable being broke.
Yeah, and we had the pictures.
We had pictures all the way around it, but remember it was cut off.
Yeah, on the tongue.
And he said, yeah, but it's back there. I dropped it off in the parking lot. Maybe you hooked it with your forklift. I'm like, it's a $12.
And I said, do you fucking think I need to lie over a fucking $12 cable? He's like, oh, easy, buddy. I'm like, no, I'll buy you a fucking cable. Is that the only hang up here? Well, I don't know if you did it. I'm like, geez, oh, Pete.
Yeah, you were adamant that we did it 100% until photos came up. And then all of a sudden, well, maybe you didn't do it. But he didn't believe it, even with the photo.
And then he was butthurt that he wanted the brake line.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, dude. These people just drive you nuts. Well, I think we got a lot of good content. We all decided that for sure we hate the insurance companies.
We hate the insurance companies. They are wrecking this industry.
Yeah, they've already done wrecked it.
Yes,
and guess what? And they've gotten better with the politicians and paid the politicians to freaking deal with all this freaking shit. Where do you think the seatbelt law came from? Would you guys agree it costs the insurance company way too much money not having people thrown out of the cars?
Right.
They'd rather have you die in the car, seatbelted in, so they don't
Maybe
have to.
The DRPs done wrecked the program.
I know one thing: we'll never be a DRP company here because there's no way freaking Amanda from freaking State Farm's gonna come in here and tell me how to freaking fix a car.
Right.
Because we literally had that lady on Dan McAleer's Jeep. Mm-hmm. Remember that freaking lady came in here from I don't remember Geico, and she was or whatever it was, and she was gonna freaking tell you how to fix that Jeep, and she was being a bitch about it. Yep. And you're like, how many BBs? Well, I've never done any. Yep. You're like, you're pretty sure of yourself for somebody who's not done anything.
Right.
But you sure could tell me how to fix it and how you're not going to pay me? Yeah. Yeah, remember that?
Well, we had a class, and they showed us how to do that. No.
Yeah, okay.
Pass.
Yeah. How about I pay you? Would you like a job?
Right.
What about that other lady that friggin' came out and wrote Rocky's wife's car all day and never popped the hood and wrote it for like $3,200? And we popped the hood, the freaking transmission's broke off the block, and the block is broken.
Yeah.
And we rewrote the estimate really quick. It was like $19,000. We stopped and called the adjuster and go, hey,
Right.
this thing's a total loss.
Right.
So anyway, thanks for being on, Jim.
Yep. Thanks for having me again.
All right.